you're intelligent, you have a lot going on for yourself, you've achieved so much, and you don't have to rely on a man to live the life you want to live. However, dating has been hard for you. Relationships have not played out the way you desire. And the question becomes, why is it so hard for successful women to find love? My name is Stephan aka Stephan Speaks, back with another dating and relationship advice video for women. And like I said, we're going to be talking about why can't successful women keep a man? All right. So be sure to like this video, share it, subscribe to this channel, and leave your comments below because this is a hot topic for some people and I want to get your feedback. So quick little backstory. I decided one night I couldn't sleep, so I jumped on Clubhouse. And Clubhouse is an app where it has these rooms where people get together and they can talk. It's like a chat room, but by voice. And so one of the rooms was titled, Why Successful Women Can't Keep a Man. And I joined in, and I sat back and I listened to a lot of what people had to say and eventually did give my 2 cents, so to speak. But I felt compelled to kind of bring that to YouTube, bring that here for you guys, because I realized so many women are having this struggle. So many women are confused about this issue, or at the very least, what they believe the issue is not accurate, and therefore it's causing more problems. So one, let's get this out of the way. I know what most of you will say and believe. These men can't handle a successful woman. These men are not men enough. They're not strong enough, and they are simply intimidated by a woman's success. Now listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and act like there aren't men out there who are insecure. I'm not going to act like there aren't men out there who, yes, they are simply intimidated by your accomplishments because it shines a light on their lack of accomplishment and the fact that they have not reached a certain level of life that they can provide for you in that way. And the reality is that because men, whether by hearing it in society or seeing it in their own lives or whatever, a lot of men believe or have come to the understanding that an ability to provide for your woman is a huge deal. And women, especially if she's a desirable woman, are going to hold men to a high standard in that regard. And now, so when he understands that, and to see you have so much and him have so little, yes, it can cause him to be insecure regardless of what you're doing. All right. And there are some men out there who have already determined for themselves that they want to get to a certain place in life before they allow themselves to be in a relationship, before they can feel good enough or feel proud about where they are. All right. And be in a position to live the life that they want to live as well. So again, that does exist, but that is not the real issue in most cases. All right. There's so much more to why successful women are having a hard time finding love or keeping a man, so to speak. Now, also to address the keeping a man, I know that the mentality out there is you can't keep a man who doesn't want to be kept. Absolutely. However, that doesn't mean women or men in any aspect of a relationship is absolved of their responsibility in how they pour into their partner or what they're bringing to the table in regards to creating a successful relationship. There are still things you can do to, yes, lose a partner. It is possible. We can't act like someone leaving us, man or woman, is just, oh, that's just on them. No, we have to take inventory or evaluate what could we be doing better? What are some things that we are overlooking? But it isn't just in an instance or in one situation where you can't keep someone, quote unquote, or lose someone that we have to say, okay, there's a huge issue on your end. It's mainly when this is a pattern. All right. So again, I keep mentioning men and women, but let's keep the focus on women because that's what this video is about, successful women. And so when you see a pattern of failed relationships, when you see a pattern of men not sticking around, when you see a pattern of men not being willing to commit to anything serious, then yes, you do have to look in the mirror, not to beat yourself up, not to take on any negative mindsets of why or something's wrong with me, so to speak, but to evaluate in a way to self-improve in order to get better results. All right, plain and simple. So as we move forward in this conversation, please understand that yes, I'm going to shed a light on you as the woman and what you need to be mindful of on your end, because simply telling you that men can't handle you, men are intimidated, men this, that, and the other, does not help you get better results. Like, we're hearing this narrative, and again, I'm not dismissing it, but I am saying, what value does that give the woman who isn't seeing the results she desires? It doesn't, because anything that's on the opposite sex is out of your control. So if there are men who are simply insecure and intimidated, and we say the issue is simply about that, that means we say you have no power in creating better results in your life. I simply don't believe that. I don't care if I'm talking to you about success in the financial department, success with your health, spiritually, whatever aspect of life there is. You have to understand that you do have power to create better results. But yes, it may take a lot of work. It takes a lot of being humble, all right, and being willing to hold ourselves accountable. And so we can't shy away from that and try to just dismiss the notion that there are things on our end that we're overlooking. So let's get more into this, all right? Why successful women are having a hard time keeping a man. So the first thing I feel the need to talk about with this issue is that to begin with, a lot of women who are successful are not truly happy with where they are in life. All right, let's start there. And it's important to start there because if you're not happy, that's going to contribute to you exuding an energy that's going to work against you. All right. So what I have found in sitting down with so many women is that they're not truly happy with the job that they do. They're not happy in their career, so to speak. They are happy with the lifestyle it affords them. They are happy with the fact that they can claim these accomplishments, but their heart is not tied to their work. That work does not speak to their heart. It doesn't truly fulfill them. So what you have is a dynamic where she has to now go into this world, whether it's as an entrepreneur or working in corporate America or whatever, go to this job and try to put on a face like everything's all good, but deep inside, she's not happy with the work that she does. And ideally, deep inside, for a lot of women, what they would love, if they're going to be honest with you, is that, or you being honest with yourself, is that they would love to be able to have a situation where they can have a man they can trust and rely on, who does well enough that they can take care of them, and they're able to now pour their heart into family, kids, household. It doesn't mean they wouldn't want to do some things here and there, but there's a difference between doing what you love without the pressure of having to make money to pay bills and so on and so forth, versus this is what I have to do to make sure I can fend for myself, I can pay these bills, I can live this life, all right? That brings a level of pressure and attachment to careers and work that, again, doesn't speak to that woman's heart. Now, why is this important in regards to keeping a man? Because now you have this successful woman who has to navigate this world, navigate this lifestyle that doesn't speak to her heart. And now when she comes to the man or gets in these relationships or in these dating processes, again, her energy is not what she thinks it is. And it's not just about she's not happy in many cases. And again, this doesn't apply to every last woman. There's going to be some women who truly love what they do and it is their purpose. But a lot of women, this will resonate with you because you know what I'm talking about. And so not only are you bringing a lack of positive energy to the dating dynamic or to your relationships, but hell, you're tired and worn down from this job you don't really care for, and not just physically tired, mentally exhausted, as well as many times women have to take on so much masculine energy at these workplaces, in these career paths, all right? And it's very difficult if you're not aware to turn that off and bring forth the feminine energy that will actually be more successful for you in relationships. So when you now date and you meet this man, all right, and he stops talking to you or stops dealing with you, many women will say, well, he was intimidated. But no, in many cases, he wasn't intimidated. It was your attitude. It was your energy. It was other things that rubbed him the wrong way. Your success wasn't the problem, but maybe the arrogance you have because of your success. Again, the energy, the attitude, these are the things that are undermining you more than the actual accomplishment itself. So you've got to be willing to look in the mirror and say, okay, one, for your sake, forget just for quote unquote keeping a man and finding a relationship. Are you happy where you are? Are you on the path that God wants you to be on? Are you walking in your purpose? Because success does not equal purpose. Financial freedom doesn't always equal purpose, because how you reach that financial freedom may be a path that has attached you to something that drains your spirit and kills your energy. So what good is that? To me, true success starts with some happiness, not just with how much money we make. Are you even happy? All right. Now, granted, we all know we can't stop all the stress and negativity that comes at us in life. And no matter what path we choose, we're going to deal with some level of it. But again, it's important when we can say, I know I'm where I belong. I'm truly happy, or I'm fulfilled here. I know this is not what I can walk away from. And for some of you, the reality may be that you've always felt like your purpose was to be a mother, to raise a family, to be there for your husband. And unfortunately, society has said, wrong, you can't do that no more. What's wrong with you? They speak down on women who want to be housewives. And listen, I'm not here to tell you whether you need to be a housewife or a career woman. I'm here to tell you, find your happiness, find your purpose, find your peace. Whichever path that is, go there. Do not allow society to push you into either one. Do not allow friends and family to push you into either one. And do not allow money, as hard as that may be, I know, because, well, we live in a world that needs money when we want to handle things and live life and be secure. But be mindful of the sacrifice you're making in that. Because again, it does have a direct impact on your ability to receive the right relationship, maintain it, and be successful in it. So you got to really get a hold of making sure you are where you belong. And regardless, you've got to be more aware of the energy that you're bringing to the table, because that masculine energy is a huge deterrent. Now, here's another reason why the masculine and negative energy is a huge deterrent. And this kind of goes into number two, so to speak, of why successful women struggle to keep a man. Because successful women typically want quote unquote alpha men, quote unquote high value men. I don't care what label you want to put on it. You want a man that has his stuff together. And in most cases, the successful woman wants a man who she views either at her equal level or higher. All right. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. However, if you surveyed most women, that's what they desire. And unfortunately, well, I don't know if I want to say unfortunately, but the reality is that as you become, you go higher up in your success as a woman, the pool of men who qualify as equal or higher shrinks. All right. So now you're pulling from a smaller pool of men. Then on top of that, these men who are also successful men, quote unquote alpha men, and more than likely masculine men, because that's what most women desire, a masculine man, is desiring his balance, a feminine woman. He is drawn to more feminine energy. So when we talk about the fact that you're at this job that you may not even care for, then on top of that, you take on so much masculine energy from these environments, and you bring that into your dating and relationships. Well, guess what? That is a huge deterrent to the type of man that you will want. Now, the reality is that successful women can get a man, because plenty of successful women have men lining up trying to be with them, lining up trying to be with you. However, most of those men you don't really want. I hate to laugh, but that's just the reality. You don't really care for them. And I always say successful women have no problem attracting passive men, good for nothing men, men don't have nothing going on, that don't have anything going on in their lives. Because those men are not deterred by your masculine energy, are not deterred by your lack of positive energy, because those men view you as a stabilizer to their life. Those men view you as a come up. They need the resources that you have. They need the fact that you remove the financial burden off of their back because you already got it. So the reality is that there are plenty of men who will jump to the front of the line to be with a successful woman. But does that man possess what the successful woman desires or even needs? So again, when we shine the light back on masculine energy, if you want the type of man that a successful woman typically desires, and hell, forget successful woman, typically almost every woman desires, never everybody, but almost everybody, then understanding the need for tapping into your feminine energy is so important and so huge, all right? And it plays such a huge role in this dynamic of why there's a struggle, because again, what you now have is successful woman, successful man, two masculine energies, they clash. They start bumping heads, all right? It becomes a battle. Sometimes it starts to become a competition, all right? It becomes a very unhealthy environment in most cases because in relationships, you need balance more than you need equality. I think there's this misguided perception of equality and not understanding that, no, success will be found in balance, in everyone accepting their role. Now, whether you want to define that role by gender or whatever, that's up to you. But I will tell you this, a role will have to be accepted. We will have to understand what is our contribution here, what is our strengths, how do we balance each other out to make a whole unit that is now extremely powerful together. But in a lot of times or a lot of situations, when you have these two successful people, you have no balance, none. And that masculine energy simply clashes. That's not going to work. So you've got to ask yourself, if I really want this relationship, if I really want success, how do I get a better handle of these things? How do I make sure I bring forth the right energy? Because that's what's going to be extremely necessary. So now if you need help in regards to feminine energy, and especially in regards to healing, because a lot of what we're talking about here comes from healing. And I'm going to get a little bit more into that as we move further in this video. But if you need help with these things, join my special membership program today. It's helping thousands of women with healing, feminine energy, finding your purpose, a lot of things that we're talking about in this video, plus some, all right? Go to the link below in the description or in the comment section, or go to receivingmyblessings.com. Join today. I'm telling you, you're going to love it, all right? Now, as we talked about the feminine energy, we talked about women not even being where they truly belong, all right? So now let's get into some of this healing part, because now here's what a lot of people are not being honest about, all right? For a lot of women, the reason why you're struggling in dating and relationships as a successful woman is because you are hiding behind your work, all right? You are hiding behind your career. The reality, the unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of women who, when they were younger, and this can happen in various ways, but I'm going to give you one example. They were younger, they fell in love, so to speak, or at least they felt they fell in love, all right? And especially at a young age, we don't know how to handle love relationships in most cases, all right? So there's going to be a breakup, there's going to be hurt that occurs. And that woman now says, you know what? I'm not going to let this happen to me again. I'm not going to put myself in such a vulnerable position. I'm now going to focus on my career. You see, the transition into being career driven is a foundation of hurt, not dreams. It's a foundation of fear, not faith and passion. All right? So you've got to really recognize, why are you even on the path you're on? How did you get there? What is the real root of this? Because it will then define if, one, you're even in the right place and what may need to be addressed. Because for so many women, there is a lack of healing that has gone on. And I mentioned this when I was in the clubhouse room. It isn't just a hiding behind career. It's also a hiding behind God. Now, I know we're talking about successful women, but I feel the need to just touch on this a little bit. There's a lot of women who either turn to God or give their life to the church or whatever the case may be, and they still struggle in relationships and wonder, well, why? If I'm giving myself to God, why am I not seeing what I want to see? Because you're not trying to walk with God, you're just hiding behind him. You're using that as a shield. You're using that as a way to not put yourself out there and to essentially not have to be vulnerable and hoping that God will just drop a man in your lap and everything will be great. But it does not work that way. Now, listen, I don't say this to judge you. I don't say this to make you feel bad. Trust and believe everything I'm saying to you in this video and every damn video I do. It's because I love you. It's because I want to see better in your life. And I can't help you if I'm not honest with you. I cannot help you if I don't shed light on all the different aspects that may be ignored, that again, because of ignoring it, is only continuing the negative cycle. It's only keeping you away from receiving the blessings that are for you. So I had to mention that, but let's shift that back to, again, hiding behind your career. And one more thing, some women hide behind their kids. Some women have had children and now they bury themselves in their child as a way to not have to put themselves out there for love and relationships. But then you can't do that and say, well, why am I not receiving love and relationship? Why am I not receiving success in that area? Because you are hiding rather than working and preparing. And so if you are hiding behind your work, or if you have used career as your shield because of what you've been through, you've got to assess that and then say, okay, let me take a step back and do some healing. Let's get to the root of these issues. Because again, there's nothing wrong with you having genuine passions, genuine dreams, genuine purpose. But what I'm trying to convey here is many of you it's not genuine. It's not. And because it's not, it's throwing everything off balance. Yes, you may have achieved a certain lifestyle you desire, but the other things in your life that you truly desire, that speak to your heart, is not where it needs to be. So you got to take a deeper look. You got to be willing to heal. Like I said, join the membership. Also, check out the book, Love After Heartbreak. But either way, be willing to go on that journey. And hell, go see a therapist, a coach. Therapy is good, all right? Mind you, you got to make sure you look for the right one who's going to actually help assist you in healing, not coping. Too many people are going to a helping professional, whether that be coach, therapist, whatever, and they're simply having venting sessions, all right? And they're not actually getting healing. They're just learning how to manage and cope. That does not address the issue properly, and that does not resolve it. So you've got to make sure that there is a process that's going to take you through actually healing, flushing out that negative energy, getting past the fears, and being able to walk more in faith, positive energy, love, all these things, all right? Because again, this is what's causing so many problems in these relationships. Now, let's go a little deeper, or let's look at some other stuff here. Another reason why successful women have a hard time keeping a man is because they prioritize career over relationship. Now, I know some of y'all might be thinking, well, oh, hell no. Like, why should I prioritize this man or this relationship, especially if he's not your husband yet, over your career? Granted, he ain't your husband. You're not obligated to. But you've got to understand that if we're going to get to marriage, if that is your desire, then there has to be a proper balance found. You cannot simply expect that he fit into your life at your convenience because you're a woman with a career and with stuff going on. The same way, if I was speaking to men, all right, and he's a successful man, I'm going to say, listen, man, you got to find a way to have work-life balance so that you can pour enough energy and love into your woman and in your relationship, as well as tend to your career. But what happens with a lot of successful people is they get so career driven, so locked in, that they don't realize how much they're neglecting their partner. And the mindset is, well, you should respect this because this is career. This makes the money. I'm making moves out here. All right, then make moves by your damn self. Because it doesn't make sense. You can't expect to have a healthy, successful relationship if you're not going to at least find proper balance to pour into the needs of the partner. And so again, here's where it becomes an even more magnified issue for successful women. Because if you are a successful woman and you are trying to date a successful man or a man, quote unquote, on your level or higher, he has a need for a woman that can tend to him more. All right. Because he himself is also dealing with the negativity of the world, the grind of work, all these things. The last thing he wants is when he wants to go be with his woman, she's always unavailable because she has other stuff going on. Now, granted, I understand you might say, well, why can't he have that same respect for you? This is why the two successful people got so much going on. They struggle to have successful relationships because both parties are looking for the other to be able to tend to them. I remember reading an article one time, a few years back, about why marriages and relationships are going downhill. And the point that the article made was that because back in the days, we had one income households, and that was sufficient enough, all right? You had situations where essentially one person could tend to the other. And so you had the wife, in most cases it was the wife, who was available to make sure her husband's good, give him what he needs, so on and so forth. He takes the burden of the financial off of her back. It created a better balance. But now with two income households, you have two people hustling and grinding, two people coming home tired and stressed, two people looking at each other like, well, why don't you rub my feet? Well, why don't you rub my back? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're both looking at each other to do, to give us some relief, all right? And we're both struggling to provide that because we're drained from what we're doing. There is no balance in the relationship. And so again, we've got to ask ourselves, how much do we want successful love and relationships versus overly successful careers? And I use the word overly because the reality is that many people have reached a level of great success and still don't learn how to take the foot off the gas, at least enough to enjoy life, to enjoy relationship, all right? So it's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with pushing for more. And I would argue that if you learn how to have better balance, you would actually achieve more. I call it the Chick-Fil-A Effect, all right? And the reason I call it that is because Chick-fil-A is the one franchise that was bold enough to say, due to their personal beliefs or spiritual beliefs, we're taking off on Sundays. We're closed on Sundays. And conventional wisdom would be, there's no way they could beat out the other chains working one less day a week. But they're killing the game. They're killing the game even though they take that day off. I believe that can apply to human beings and relationships. That if we took time to have balance away from work, enjoy life, get some rest, get some relaxation, we will become even more efficient. We can actually accomplish more. We can enjoy life overall at a much higher level. So again, we've got to see, are we willing to create that balance? And so when you have two busy people, it's difficult. And then in regards to successful women specifically, when you become so attached to your career, but again, you still want relationship, the idea that you can have both, I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm going to say it's extremely difficult. And when I say having both is extremely difficult, having both a very successful career and a very successful, healthy relationship. Again, I'm not going to say no one's accomplished it. I'm just going to say it's hard to do that, especially then when you add kids to the mix. All right. So we've got to be willing to make sacrifices. Now, real quick, I feel the need to mention this. When I mentioned about the article talking about one-parent households versus two-parent households, I know I can hear some of you in the back of my head saying, well, we need two-income households. That's what I meant, two-income households. We need that because these houses, cost of living and all this stuff. And I just want to put something out there, plant a seed. If we're willing to change our lifestyle, we would not need such a high emphasis on two incomes. All right. And I think also if we would prepare for that lifestyle, we wouldn't need as much as two incomes. And worst case scenario, we could set ourselves up for at least later on eliminating having to have two incomes. So what I mean by that is this. This is just a random example I'm going to give. Let's say, because even though we're talking about successful people, let's start at a lower income. Let's say we got a man and a woman making $45,000 a year, all right? And so they come together. And so in this instance, depending on the lifestyle they want to live, the state that they're living in, because all those things come into play, that will determine how much money they actually need to survive. But I would argue that if you're willing to make certain sacrifices and live, let's say, with that $45,000, so you take that one guy's income, and then you took the other income, woman or man, so whoever you want to use and the other one you don't use, I would say use the man's and the woman's, invest the woman's income. So you're living off 45, you're investing 45. And you created maybe a 3 to 5 year plan. There's an argument to be made that you can then eventually get to the lifestyle you would have achieved with two incomes, no longer needing two people having to be out there working full time. All right. Now, again, there's a lot more we have to flesh out with that. I'm just throwing that out there to simply say that what I have seen is that what's really shackling people to this idea of we need these two incomes is an unwillingness to sacrifice a certain kind of lifestyle, at least at the moment, in the beginning of this relationship, all right? It doesn't mean we'll have to always live this way, but if we're willing to live maybe in a smaller apartment versus a big house for a few years, that could be a game changer in how we can eventually get to a one income system. You know what I'm saying? If we're willing to drive average cars, we don't need to take a trip every year right now. We'll get there, but right now we make some adjustments because we're prioritizing healthy home versus just money and lifestyle. Because how many times do we need to see people with tons of money miserable as hell? Depressed as hell. I'm not going to sit here and say money don't help. I'm just saying it doesn't solve it all. But what more amazing thing could there be than two people who genuinely love each other, have an amazing relationship, and they can eventually have that lifestyle as well. But just for right now, we make some sacrifice. So we're going to leave that to the side for a second. But getting back to this is, again, the successful woman many times is looking for a man that's going to be convenient to what her schedule currently is. And depending on the type of man you want to be with, and which we already acknowledged is typically another successful man, all right, it's not going to work that well. All right, it's going to be very difficult. And so we have to reevaluate what's more important in those situations. All right, which brings me to the next point. The other thing that's causing successful women to struggle to keep a man. Well, two other things I want to mention. Number one is when she dates down. So here's the thing. When I say date down, I don't mean he makes less than you, because I honestly don't think that should be a problem. I think we got to look deeper into the financial expectations of people. I'll say this real quick. Too many women, all right, and I've seen this happening with successful women specifically, are focusing on salary and overlooking disposable income, overlooking money management, overlooking even generosity from this man. So my thing is this: you can meet a man who makes $120,000, but if he has too much debt, if he has poor spending habits, he literally could be living check to check. On the flip side, and depending on when he started to make that $120,000, he hasn't even established a financial foundation yet in his life. But yet, because he makes 120, there are women who will find him more desirable, at least from a resume standpoint. However, you could have a man who's making, let's say, $70,000. But let's say he's been making $70,000 to $75,000 for the last 4 or 5 years. And let's say in those 4 to 5 years, this man has his house, he has his 401k, he's established, he is good with his money, and he's generous, meaning he will be willing to spend and provide for his woman. I would argue that he is better for that woman to be with than the dude making 120. But so many people get caught up in salary rather than the other aspects of finances that really define if this is going to be a good situation or not. But anyways, getting back to the main point, when successful women date down, I simply mean settling for a man who doesn't truly speak to your heart, settling for a man who doesn't truly make you happy, settling for a man who, again, because you're not making the adjustments on your end to have the type of man you deserve and desire, You're accepting these other men who you think, again, are more accepting of your current lifestyle, your current energy. So essentially, let's say you don't want to deal with this whole, I got to fix my energy, fix my attitude, I got to be more positive. Nah, F that. These men need to take me as I am. Okay, cool. So then what happens is you end up taking that man who accepts that, who typically is going to be a dating down situation. And now what happens is you don't truly respect that man. You're not really into him like that. You're just tolerating him because, I hate to say it, because he's tolerating you. Because he ain't really in love with you either. But again, both of y'all see a logic in being with each other, and that creates an attachment in this situation. And so now you are bound to see this relationship fail, which looks like now this woman can't keep a man because you got with the wrong man to begin with. Because you got with a man you were never really into. So he'll never be what you need him to be, and you'll never be the woman he needs you to be. So it's actually a mismatch from the jump, but because you guys are viewing it from different angles, you're thinking, okay, maybe we can make this work. So you've got to be mindful of, all right, are you really getting with, I would much rather you work on the things to position you to get what you truly desire and what will truly make you happy than to settle for some nonsense that's inevitably going to fail. All right? So that is another thing to consider. Women are, again, dating down. But then on the flip side, the other struggle in trying to keep the man is, I don't want to say shooting too high. Please don't take it that way, even though that's the words that came to my mind real quick. It's not shooting too high. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is a lot of women, successful women, are being talked out of embracing the man who's truly best for them. And they're being talked out of it by whether it be society, friends, family, and instead trying to get with a guy who on the surface may have the things you want, but isn't truly what you need. So an example I have is, I remember one time a couple years ago, I had a client and she was a very successful woman. And she had this guy, and let's just say, I cannot remember their careers, but I want to say, let's just say she's making well over 6 figures. And this guy is a teacher. I can't remember what it was, but let's just say he was a teacher, all right? So anyways, friends and family was like, oh no, he's not good enough for you. He's not on your level. You need a man on your level. But the reality was that this man, she had a connection with this man. This man made her very happy. They had this amazing friendship, relationship. They could talk to each other. All the things that you would want and need for a successful relationship from an emotional standpoint, personality standpoint, all these things were there, but his resume was not quote unquote good enough, all right? And so rather than allowing herself to embrace that and be with this man that there was real love there for, she allowed his image and the perception that family, friends had of him because of where he was in his career to dismiss him. And he actually tried for like, I want to say a year and a half trying to get with her. She let him go. And then after he stopped trying, no, she didn't even let him go. He finally stopped trying. And then she was mad that he stopped trying, which I was like, okay, that's ridiculous. You can't be sitting here rejecting this man. And then now you're mad because he doesn't want to chase you anymore. That's a problem. But anyways, that's not the point of the story. The point is she allowed friends, family, and this whole, well, his resume doesn't look good enough, and basically overlook the connection that was there. So as a successful woman, it's not that there's anything wrong with you wanting or desiring a man who is successful as well. But again, we have to ask ourselves, what is more important? And I say it like this. So if you make, and this is just again, a random example, you make 150 grand as a woman. That man makes 75. If you two can live the life you desire and have an amazing relationship, why dismiss him as someone to be with because he makes that much less? What would the extra 75 grand do for you? Because one thing I've learned about money is once you reach a certain financial level, anything over that doesn't really change your lifestyle. Like, so if 150 grand can maintain the lifestyle you want, making 250 doesn't change the lifestyle. It may change the level of investment, all right, and additional luxuries you can add if you felt like it, But the lifestyle that makes you happy, or the necessities and things of that nature that are like the foundation for what you feel I'm living the life I want, won't really change. So why would we then dismiss someone because there's that missing income that has no relevance on the quality of the relationship or even the quality of the lifestyle at that point? So you've got to be mindful of what are you prioritizing, what is most important to you. Now listen, this was a lot, all right? This was a whole lot. And again, if you're looking for more help, please join the membership program, sign up, click the link, receivingmyblessings.com. But listen, again, I firmly believe that as a successful woman, you can have the amazing relationship you desire, but you've got to start to look at what may need to change or be adjusted. Everything I said to you today was to help. And as I say to you in my books and in previous videos, if any of this doesn't sit well with you, makes you feel some kind of way, pray about it. Talk to God about it. But I assure you that I give you this information with the one goal to help you get what you desire and you deserve. I want you to be happy. I want you to have it all. And you can have it all. So be willing to do the work, be willing to make the adjustments, and be willing to trust God as you move forward. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. A high quality woman deserves a high quality man. So if you're that woman, and I believe you are, then continue to watch, because I'm going to explain to you the habits or traits that high quality men are attracted to.